So we'll start the session by paying our obeisances to His Divine Grace Abhay Charan Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is founder Acharya of ISKCON. And actually we are studying his commentary and purports on Bhagavad Gita as it is. And we will also pay our obeisances to our initiating spiritual master and our Siksha Guru, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj and Radhanath Swami Maharaj. So today we will be starting chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita. Now, before we start it, I want to request some of you, if you can recite the shloka which we gave to all of you to learn. And I know that Shanmukh his daughter has learned some shlokas and she would share with all of us. And she has agreed to sing in front of all of us. So Shanmukh is it the good time? Can she share with us?
Yes, Sumit ji.
Okay. Yeah.
So I will be singing two slokas.
So sure, we can start.
Yes. So she is singing the first chapter.
No, she said she will sing two Gita glory slokas and one other sloka.
Okay, sure. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Malanirmochanam pumsam jalasnanam dine dine sakrita kitambasi snanam samsara malanashanam. Chanting the Bhagavad Gita given by Lord Krishna himself cleanses our mind and relieves us from all difficulties. The second one, Mukam karoti vachalam Pangum langayate girim yat kripa tamaham vande paramananda madhavam. I salute to Lord Krishna, by whose grace the dumb can become eloquent and the lame can cross over mountains. Now this is a different shloka. Ahimsa pratamam pushpam pushpam indriya nigraha sarvabhuta daya pushpam kshama pushpam visheshtaha dhyanam pushpam tapah pushpam vishnu preetikaram sada. Non-violence, self-control, compassion towards all forms of life, forgiving, concentration, meditation are some of the important virtues that are dear to the Lord.
Very good. Thank you very much, Hasini Sai Kirti. Thank you. Very good. So we will request you to come every time, maybe recite one or two shlokas. That will be so good.
Yes, uncle.
Good.
Okay.
And Shanmukh will you also kindly recite that Man Mana Bhav Mad Bhakto?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam ye vaishyasi satyante pratijane priyo asime.
Very good. Very good. You sing it with, very good tune. Like I cannot sing the way you sing so nicely. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to sing?
Yeah, Prabhuji Swastik is reciting one.
Oh, very good, Swastik. Please go ahead.
Manmana mana madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishasya satyam te pratijane priyosi me.
Hey, very good. Thanks, Swastik. Thank you very much. Anyone else online who would like to share, who would like to sing?
I will do Sumit.
Yeah, please.
Manmana bhava madbhakte madhyaji namaskuru मामे वैशासि सत्यते प्रतिजाने प्रियोऽसि मे.
Very good. Very good. Good. Excellent. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, good. So thank you all. You know, every week I'll share one of the important shlokas from our session, and you all can learn that shlok. And what I was thinking is that every time we will recite all the previous shlokas also, which we gave you to learn. So that way, you know, we will have quite a sufficient number of shlokas that we will be able to learn by heart. You know, at least the out of maybe 700 shlokas, we will be able to learn at least 75 or 80 shlokas. So that will be very good for all of us. You know, it's actually very purifying um, to sing these verses which were actually sung by Lord Krishna. And when you memorize these verses, you know, it helps you to recollect what Krishna said. So they're actually, you know, it will really help you in your life. So, you know, let's take it as a task for all of you, for all of us, like an spiritual task. Okay. And
Sumitji, one quick comment.
yeah.
So today we, as I mentioned, Rajesh, one of my friend,
Oh
has
yes.
joined.
Right.
And then there is one more, our family friend, Mrs. Padmaji have joined the class.
Oh, that's so nice. So will they like to introduce themselves?
Yeah, probably it will be nice if they can introduce.
Yeah.
Namaste Sumitji, I'm
Namaste.
Rajesh.
Namaste.
Let me turn on my camera.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. Yeah, it will be good if someone who speaks can turn on the camera. That way, you know, it's like a family group, so we can all know each other. Yeah.
Okay, you're able to see me?
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thanks, Rajesh.
Okay, yeah. So I'm in Bangalore only. So I work for Qualcomm, but right now I'm at Native. So Shanmukji introduced about this group. So I joined yesterday.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And we would specifically also like to know if you can share like what you are expecting from this session, from this whole course.
Okay. So this is basically for the spiritual upliftment.
Right.
So most of the time we will be busy in the family chores and work pressures and all, right? So
Right.
to get some relaxation out of it and to grow spiritually. So that is the reason. So I joined this group.
Thank you very much, Rajesh ji. Thank
Yeah.
you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
And Shanmukji, you said Padma ji, right? Padma ji.
Yeah, because I didn't get time to send you the name, and I think
Sure,
I
sure.
forwarded the invite probably.
Right. I think so. She's not yet online, right? I don't see her.
Yeah.
Maybe towards the end of the session, if
Yeah.
she joins, we can, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, sure, no problem.
Okay. So thanks, Shanmukji. So we'll start with quiz. Like quiz means we will just revise what we went through last time. Okay. And I want everyone to actively participate. It's not about being wrong or right. It's like, you know, coming up with what you know, right? How many chapters are there in Srimad Bhagavad Gita?
18.
18, yeah. Okay, good. So it's very simple, yeah. How many verses are there in Srimad Bhagavad Gita?
700.
Very good, very good. Yeah. And who is the main speaker of Srimad Bhagavad Gita?
Krishna.
Yeah, Krishna. Good. And who is the main listener of Srimad Bhagavad Gita?
Arjuna.
Arjuna. Good, good. So they're very simple questions, right? And what are the three main divisions of Srimad Bhagavad Gita? Like, if you remember, I told you it is divided into three parts: first 6 chapters, middle 6, and the last 6.
It's Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Dhyana Yoga.
Wow, good, good, excellent. Thanks, Harshita. Thank you. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. So Karma Yoga is the first 6 chapters, Bhakti Yoga middle 6, right? And Gyan Yoga the last 6 chapters. Okay. What are three main divisions compared to? We shared last time yet that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has compared Bhagavad Gita with something, and you know,
jewelry box.
Yeah, jewelry box. Very good. Thanks. So the bottom lid of the jewelry box is the first 6 chapters, which is Karma Yoga. The top lid is the last 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, and the diamond ring in it is the middle 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What are the 5 subject matters explained in Srimad Bhagavad Gita?
No.
Five, like Gita primarily talks about 5 main things.
Is it Karma? Yeah. Is it Karma, Jiva?
It's Jiva. Yes, Jiva is one of them.
Jiva, Karma, Prakriti.
Prakriti is there. Karma is there. Prakriti is there. Jiva is there.
Jiva, time, that is Samay.
Time.
Kala, sorry.
Kala is there.
Yeah. And one more is
and main is Ishwara.
Ishwar, yeah.
Right?
Ishwar.
So, Ishwara, Jiva, Kal, Prakriti, and Karma. Of these, the first 4 are like they are eternal subject matters, while karma is temporary. Okay, so I'll not go deep into it, but we can discuss it later. Okay. Okay, who has written the Gita Mahatmya, which we recited last time, and today our Hasini Saikirti also recited, Maline Malamochana. Who has written that Gita Mahatmya?
Adi Shankaracharya.
Adi Shankaracharya, Shripad Shankaracharya. Very good. Thanks, Ashish ji. And what is the basic qualification to understand Srimad Bhagavad Gita? I think so. We recited one of the shloka.
So we should be.
Yes. Thanks, Shanmugh ji.
We should be the friend and we should be the devotee, both.
Right. Sa evaya maya tedya yoga prokta puratana bhakto si me sakha cheti rahasyam hi etab uttam. Right. It is in 4th chapter, 3rd shloka. Krishna highlights that what are the basic prerequisite, the qualifications, and there he highlights bhakto si me sakha cheti. You have to be a friend of mine and a devotee. Which verse of Srimad Bhagavad Gita has been repeated twice?
Manmano bhava madbhakt.
Yes, thanks.
Last 2 lines are different, but first 2 lines.
The meaning almost remains the same, right? Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. And then this is the 18.65, and then is the last shloka of 9th chapter, right? Manmana bhav bhakto madhya jimam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yuktevam atmanam matparayana. Okay, so this is the shlok which you all learned today, right? And thanks all of you for that. Okay, before we go ahead into today's session, I want to check if anyone has any question from previous session or from chapter 1, if you have already read that.
Yeah, so one question I have in that current sloka itself. So pratijani priyohasime, so he's saying that so he just wants to inspire the trust in Arjuna. That's why he's saying that I am pledging or I'm committing, I'm assuring that you will reach me. So that the word is very, very strong. So
yes.
Why? I mean, Krishna, when Arjuna, I mean, we reached to, for example, 18.65, right? So
Right.
by that time, Arjuna would have realized already that after Vishwarupa Yoga, realized that Krishna himself is everything. So, but still
Right.
he said, is he telling to the rest of the world like that? You will
Yes.
definitely reach, or is it only to Arjuna? Because
Yes.
Arjuna would have realized by that.
Right. Very thanks a lot, Shanmukh for asking this question. And this helps us to go really deep, right? Now, if you see what did Shripad Adi Shankaracharya said in Gita Mahatmya, huh? That Sarva Upanishado Gavo, right? Dogda Gopal Nandana, right? Parth Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta, right? So, and Dugdam Gita Amrita Mahat. So he said that Parth Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta. Parth, Arjuna is a Vatsa, is a calf who is taking the milk, who is the first one who is drinking the milk, right? But this milk is also meant for Sudhir Bhokta, like for the intelligent, other intelligent devotees of Krishna, right? So Arjuna is the primary listener of Bhagavad Gita. But as Shanmukhji highlighted, that this Bhagavad Gita is not only meant for Arjuna, right? The way the milk of cow is not only meant for the calf, it is also meant for entire humanity. Similarly, Shripad Adi Shankaracharya highlighted the same fact that this particular Gita Amrita Mahat, this great science of Bhagavad Gita, this melodious song sung by Krishna is meant for entire humanity. And that is why he reiterates the fact, and it is not only here, it is in many shloka that he says this thing, right? In order to, give them the assurance, because many a times we doubt, right? Uh, and as we gain knowledge, right, that knowledge is compared to a torchlight. When there is a torchlight, the torchlight will remove all the darkness. Similarly, the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita will remove all the illusion from our mind, right? It will clarify all the doubts. And that is why again and again Krishna reiterates the fact that, you should have that trust on me. You should have that faith on me, right? That assurance, right? And this is very important for all of us. And, this is our first journey in studying Bhagavad Gita. And I tell you, my experience is that every time you will pick up this book, you will learn something new, right? And you will see that how Krishna is helping us. And through this journey, you will realize that how systematically is Krishna explaining this science for us. So thanks, Shanmukhji, for asking. Any other question? Okay, so we will start. We'll start with the background that why, Krishna had to speak this Bhagavad Gita. What was the whole background? So we'll start by discussing this family tree of Bharat Maharaj, right? So this dynasty, in Gita, you will say Krishna basically calls Arjuna as Bharata or Kuru, right? So this family tree I'm sharing from Bharat Maharaj, right? Who was one of the greatest king on this earth, and this Bharatvarsh is named after him. And Kuru Maharaj also came, and then was Shantanu Maharaj. Shantanu Maharaj married Ganga Mata. Now, him marrying Mother Ganga highlights one of the important facts for all of us, that all these things are not mere material things like a river or a mountain or a sun or moon, but they have their own personification. They have their own personifying deities, right? So Mother Ganga also is a personification. And Mother Ganga married Shantanu Maharaj and they begot son Bhishma, right? And then you all may know that, after Mother Ganga left, Shantanu Maharaj married Mother Satyavati, right? And father of Mata Satyavati took a vow. He had a condition that Satyavati will only marry you if her son will be the one who will sit on the throne of Hastinapur. And then he was hesitant, but then Bhishma Devavrat took the vow that, I will live the life of a celibate and I will never sit on the throne. I will be there as a caretaker, but I will never sit on the throne. These are my words. And which is why he is known as Bhishma. He sacrificed, for the pleasure of his father. So Shantanu Maharaj married Mother Satyavati, and then they begot Chitrangaj, and Vichitraveer. Like Chitrangaj was elder who died early on, and then Vichitraveer was married to Ambika and Ambalika, right? And before and thereafter Shantanu Maharaj also passed away, and before begetting any son, Vichitraveer also passed away, right? And then there was no one in the family who can really, be there to sit on the throne to take care of the affairs of the kingdom. And then Mother Satyavati revealed that she also has another son from Parashar, who is Vyasdev. And Vyasdev, at that time it was allowed. So Vyasdev can help to beget children through Ambika and Ambalika. And hence was born Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and also Vidira through a maid servant, right? And then Dhritarashtra married Gandhari, and Pandu married Mother Kunti and Madri, and hence the Pandavas, 5 Pandavas were born. Karna was born before the marriage through Suryadev when she wanted to test the vow given to her by Durvasa Muni, right? And Dhritarashtra had many children, over 100 children, right? And a daughter, Dushala. And thereafter, their children married and the dynasty went forward. Specifically, I want to highlight here about Subhadra and Arjuna, who had a son named as Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu married Uttara and they had son Parikshit. And Parikshit Maharaj was the king for whom basically Sukadev Goswami sung Srimad Bhagavatam. So there are 2 scriptures. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is what we are studying now. And after we finish our study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which will take approximately 1.5 years, we will start our journey to studying Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken for Parikshit Maharaj by Sukadev Goswami, right? So you see that how spiritual is their family, that 2 great scriptures, one of the most important scriptures, were basically sung by Krishna himself to Arjun, which is Bhagavad Gita, and then Sukadev Goswami spoke Srimad Bhagavatam for Maharaj Parikshit, right? And there is also a family tree of Krishna, right, who took birth in Vrishni dynasty, right? And his father was Vasudev. So Vasudev is his father and we call him Vasudev, right? So because he's son of Vasudev, he's known as Vasudev, okay? And Maharani Kunti was sister of Vasudev, right? Which is how Pandavas were cousins of Krishna, okay? So this was little important for all of us to know. You will have these slides, so you can always go through them, right? And there is one more actually slide which is after the last slide, and which is a family tree even before Maharaj Bharat, which is Puru. And actually you will see that how Panchal Naresh, Draupada, and Kripacharya, so all these Drishtadyumna, Ashwadhama, and all these like Bhurishrava. Today we will hear about Bhurishrava, who is son of Somdatta. How they were all cousins. They all come in the family tree of Puru Maharaj. So that is the slide, which is a backup slide. You can always go through that. I have pasted that family tree there. Okay. So what happened was that there was an untimely death of Pandu Maharaj. Right. He was a saintly king. And he would go on, wars. He will also go to forest. He was a saintly king. He would go to meet rishis and all, and also hunting, right? And you would know that when we in a corporate world also, or wherever you are working, if you go out, right, then what we call as out of office, then we always say that this person is my backup, right? If you have any important matter, you can. So when Pandu Maharaj used to go, he used to place Dhritarashtra as his backup. So Dhritarashtra was not the king. He used to manage the affairs on behalf of Pandu Maharaj, right? So Pandu Maharaj was the king. Because of untimely death of Pandu Maharaj, right? Mother Kunti took care of Pandavas under the shelter of Dhritarashtra, right? And then she went back to Hastinapur. But Dhritarashtra, unfortunately, was not only physically blind, but he was also bereft of spiritual vision. Not only he, but his sons were equally blinded in matter of religion. Although Maharaj Yudhishthir, by age and by virtue of his good qualities, was qualified to be an ideal king of Hastinapur, but Dhritarashtra never wanted that Yudhishthir should be the king. He always wanted Duryodhan to be the king of Hastinapur. And under the guidance of, under the shelter of Dhritarashtra, and under the evil-minded and association of Shakuni and Karna, Duryodhan would, try by many means to kill Pandavas, right? Many things they did. They tried to poison Bhima. They tried to burn them all alive, right? And then they tried to also insult Draupadi. They tried to take their kingdom by gambling, right? By this cheating game of gambling, right? They actually took over their kingdom. This evil-minded Dhritarashtra actually didn't want to give anything to Pandavas, but because he knew this actually throne belongs to Maharaj Yudhishthir, so he had to give something. So he gave a barren land to Pandavas, and then these Pandavas converted that barren land into Indraprasth, right? And then, as all of you would know, these Pandavas, right, with help of Krishna, they actually conducted sacrifices, Rajsuya sacrifice, and Maharaj Yudhishthir finally became the emperor of the whole earth, right? But Duryodhan was very envious of Pandavas, and he somehow wanted to take that kingdom back from the Pandavas, and he did that in that cheating gambling game. So these Pandavas were not only bereft of their kingdom, but they were sent to exile for 12 years and 1 year incognito. Now, Duryodhana would not agree that they have completed their tenure, and he would always object that they were not able to complete their exile with the terms and conditions, right? And he was not in agreement to return their kingdom to Pandavas. Now, Pandavas tried different means to convince Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra, right? They sent peace messengers, but they would not agree. And finally, Krishna went there. Maharaj Yudhishthir was so pious. He said, Krishna, tell them, even if they don't want to return us Indraprasth, that's fine. Ask them to give us 5 villages. And Krishna, on behalf of Maharaj Yudhishthir, said that Duryodhan, if you want to keep Indraprasth, you keep it, but give them 5 villages. And this Duryodhan, as he was, Durbuddhi, he said, what to talk about 5 villages? I will not even give enough space to prick a needle, right? And then, not only that, he said, Krishna, I will put you behind bars. And then Krishna showed them his Kala Rupa, right? And then he said that it is not possible for you, right, to bind me. Mother Yashoda could bind Krishna out of her love, right? You might have heard that story. That story is Damodar Leela. But Duryodhan, the Kauravas, they would never be able to bind Krishna. No one can bind Krishna. Only if Krishna allows to be bound by the love of his devotees can he be bound, right? Otherwise, no one can bind Krishna. So thereafter, the war was inevitable. So this is brief background of, how they ended up in Kurukshetra, right? And we have already shared with you that as part of Karma Yoga section of Bhagavad Gita, we will be covering the first 6 chapters. And the first chapter is known as Observing the Armies on the Battlefield of Kurukshetra. Okay, it has 46 verses, right? So I will go ahead with I'll start. Now every chapter are divided into different sections. Now, as I highlighted last time, all these my study is based on many devotees, many acharyas. Like our devotees have studied Bhagavad Gita by Sripad Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baldev Vidyabhushan, right? I have specifically picked these sessions from Radhesham Prabhu, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, Gaurang Darshan Prabhu, right? And many other devotees. So, I actually study very extensively. Like even now, I have 7 or 8 different books, of them 4 or 5 different Bhagavad Gitas, which I study and then I try to present. So some Gita may differ in, how they present these sections, but this is how we are presenting them. And they are very logical and very scientific way of presenting and very easy to understand the link, how Krishna goes from one topic to other, from one chapter to next chapter, right? So we will have a very smooth flow and a very good understanding. Okay, so the first chapter, which is observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, we have divided it into 5 sections, right? So in the first verse, highlighted are Dhritarashtra enquiries, right? Then the second section is from verse number 2 to 11. These 2 sections, these 3 sections from 12 to 19 is again blowing the conch shells, signs of victory of Pandavas. These 3 sections I will try, Krishna willing, I will try to cover today. Okay, and then the 4th and the 5th section, we will discuss it next time. Okay, so this is how the chapter 1 has been divided into 5 sections. Okay, so does anyone has any question? Okay, so I'll proceed with the first verse. Okay, the first verse of Bhagavad Gita has been spoken by Dhritarashtra, right? And this verse in itself will reflect his mentality. Okay, is there anyone who will like to recite this verse?
Yeah, if you give permission, I will.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samavetaayuyutsavaha Mamakaha Pandavaschaiva Kimakurvata Sanjaya.
Thank you very much, Shanmukji. Whenever you read this Bhagavad Gita shlok, I feel so good. So thank you very much. Someone will like to read the translation?
I would like to.
Yes, Anvi. Please go ahead.
Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of
Pilgrimage.
at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do?
Right. So in this verse, Dhritarashtra is asking Sanjaya. Now Sanjaya was blessed by Vyasdev with a special vision that sitting in Hastinapur, he could envision what was happening on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And Dhritarashtra asked this question to Sanjaya. O Sanjaya, Dharmashetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yujutsava. After they have assembled there for fighting, who has assembled? Mamaka Pandav Ascheva. Mamaka, my sons and the sons of Pandava. Kim Akurvata, what did they do? Now, I shared that this verse shows many things about the mindset of Dhritarashtra. First thing is that he was desirous that his sons may get the kingdom, right? He had the desire from the very beginning. But he's doubtful. He knew very well that his sons are on the side of irreligion, right? They are impious. So he was always in doubt of the possibility if his sons are actually going to be victorious or not, right? And he was fearful. He was fearful due to the influence of holy place Kurukshetra. He was worried because he knew that his sons are on the side of adharma, and this holy place Kurukshetra will favor Pandavas. So he was fearful, right? And then he was also hopeful that under the holy influence, the Pandavas may renounce their claim and avoid the bloodshed. He knew that Pandavas are very good. They are like, they have very good character, and they are never in favor of fighting, right? So he was hopeful. So this cunning Dhritarashtra, as he was, he was hoping upon hope. And from the very beginning, he was biased towards his son. That is why he again here is differentiating between Mamaka Pandavascheva. Although they are all brothers, but he always differentiated to the extent that he even plotted them to be killed, right? And here again he's showing my sons and the sons of Pandu. Now these Pandavas, the 5 children, actually they are son of Pandu Maharaj, but 3 of them were actually blessed through Mother Kunti and 2 of them through Mother Madari, right? Nakul Sahadev were children of Madari, Mata. And Yudhishthir Maharaj, Bhima, Arjun were children of Mother Kunti. But Kunti Maharani never ever considered and looked at them at this way. But here we saw a totally different person, Dhritarashtra, who has a different vision, right? Also, in this verse, it is highlighted that, for example, if you are sitting on a dining table, right, and the meals are there on the dining table. Now, if the meals are there and you are sitting, what will you do? You will eat. And here, Dhritarashtra, he is asking Sanjaya, Kim akurvata Sanjaya? What did they do? Right? Because as I told you, he was doubtful, he was fearful, right? He was hoping upon hope that, you know, Pandavas may not fight and they may just give the kingdom like that. So that is why he asked that question. The other important point in this verse is, now this battlefield was Kurukshetra. Kurukshetra. Now Kshetra is also known as a field, right? Kshetra, field. Now in any field, right, a farmer would grow crops, and the weeds will also grow in parallel. So a farmer, in order to cultivate the main crop, he will like to remove and throw away all the weeds. And so Krishna, as the personification of religion, he will do the same thing. On this battlefield of Kurukshetra, he is going to remove all these weeds. His main aim was to get rid of Mother Earth from all these impious people, right? And that is why Dhritarashtra knew that very well. Dhritarashtra knew who Krishna was actually, right? And that is why he was very fearful. So the rest of this chapter 1 is going to describe the whole scene of battlefield, what is happening there. So Sanjay is going to describe that. Okay. Any question from this first verse?
So does it show that so the first sloka itself speaks about the outcome of the war?
Yes, actually, yes, you are right. And this is, you know, I don't want to sort of share everything here, but you rightly said. And as we go through, even in today's session, it will be very clear. And I think so I shared the last shloka of Bhagavad Gita in our introductory session, in which Sanjay said that wherever there is Krishna, wherever there is Arjuna, there will be victory. There will be opulence. There will be piety. There will be strength, right? So from the first to last shloka, actually this was very clear that Pandavas are going to win this battlefield, this battle. Okay, yeah. Any other question? Yeah, okay. So we'll move on to the second section, which is Duryodhana's diplomacy. A lot of these things we have covered in our introductory session, but today we are going in more detail, right? So now this is the second verse of first chapter. Is there anyone who would like to recite? I want everyone should actively participate. So, you know, if someone who has not spoken would like to, you know, recite this verse, try, you know, it is, as I shared even 2 years back, I was finding difficult to recite these verses. But if you try, you know, and they are very purifying actually, right? Maybe anyone can try.
I will try, Sumit ji.
Yeah, thank you, Rajesh ji.
Okay. दृष्ट्वा तु पाण्डवानीकं व्यूढं दुर्योधनस्तदा आचार्यमुपसंगम्य राजा वचनमब्रवीत्.
Rajesh ji, you recited it better than me, and you said you will try. Thank you
I
very
learned
much.
from Shanmukh ji.
He's a great teacher. Thank you. So yeah, very well, very good. Someone is the any kids are there? Anvi or Swastik or Sai Kirti, anyone who will recite the English translation? Our children should also participate, or someone from you. Maybe Dipesh ji, will you like to read the translation? Or Prashad, you are reading? Prashad, can you read? Yeah.
Yeah, I can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Sanjaya said, "O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words."
Right. So here, Sanjay said, Raja Vachanam Abravit. He is denoting Duryodhana as Raja, King Duryodhana. He was not the king. It was Dhritarashtra who was the king. So why did Sanjay said him Raja? Because Sanjay knew very well that he was expert in Rajniti. He was expert in politics and diplomacy, right? That is why Duryodhana is described in this verse as Raja, right? So seeing the battlefield, seeing the army of Pandavas, he was actually very fearful, right? And so he went to Dronacharya, right? Now we will see why did he go to Dronacharya, right? Here he said Acharyam Upasangamya. Acharya means Dronacharya here. Okay. So we'll go on verse number 3. Anyone else will like to try recite the Sanskrit shlok?
Maybe I can try.
Yes, please, Santosh Prabhu.
Asyetam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chambhum Vyudam Drupada Patrena Tavasisena Dhimata.
Very good, very good. So I'll just tell you this, A, for example, there is a line above A. So that is pronounced as A. Yeah? Bade Aki Matra, and the Chota A is normal, without that top dash on it. Right, so that will be helpful for you. Dhimata, dhimata, right? Putrena, Drupada, right? So in this, O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu. Who is saying this? Duryodhana, right? So expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada. Who was son of Drupada? Drishtadyumna, right? So Drishtadyumna, actually Pandava, they had 7 Akshani of Sena and Kauravas had 11, right? So Drishtadyumna was commander in chief, right? For Pandava side. Now, does anyone know the story of and relationship between Dronacharya and Drupada?
I know, sir.
Yeah, will you like to share?
Yeah. So I think in Gurukula, Dronacharya and Drupada have studied together. And Dronacharya came from poor Brahmin family. And they also, I think they are the roommates. So one day Dronacharya, Drupada said, I think in the talks, if I would have had, he said that if I would have had kingdom, you're so dear friend of me, I would have given half of my kingdom. So then actually when reality comes, Dronacharya goes to Drupada's kingdom, and then he insults him because he promised, he said that, but he's not expecting of the kingdom. But when he approaches, when Drupada is really the king, he broke his promise and he insulted him badly.
Right.
So then Dronacharya became so angry, and then came back and asked Partha as Guru Dakshina to bring Drupada alive. So first Kauravas goes, and then they get defeated badly, and then I think Arjuna goes and tie Drupada and then bring in front of Dronacharya. Yeah, and then Drupada feels bad, and he worships, I think, Shiva for a son who can defend Dronacharya and kill him.
Right.
So I think with that grace of Shiva, Drishtadyumna has born to Drupada. I think he performs some sacrifice, and as a result, yeah, that is what I know briefly. I don't know.
Very good. You rightly said, right? So Dronacharya actually was very poor, right? And he didn't have enough money to feed Ashwadhama milk. So he just went there to ask for a cow. And Drupada insulted him. And then Shanmukji already recited what happened, right? And Dronacharya knew very well that Drishtadyumna was born to kill him. Dronacharya knew. Even knowing that fact that this boy is going to kill me in future, when Drishtadyumna was brought in front of him to be taught the military science, he wholeheartedly taught him, and that is one of the signs of a Brahmana, right? So now Duryodhana, as he is highlighting this weakness of Dronacharya by highlighting here Drupada Putrena. He could have called Drishtadyumna. He is highlighting the weakness of Dronacharya. At the same time, he is trying to incite anger in Dronacharya that, see, now your enemy is there, son of your enemy is there, so, and he also wanted that Dronacharya should not be lenient towards the Pandavas, right? Because Pandavas were his very affectionate students. And he, through this, Pashyatam Pandu Putrena. Now he also wants to highlight that even though they are so, you have taught them, you are their guru, but even then they have dared to come in front of you to fight, right? So this Duryodhana, was very cunning, very, very cunning. So he will do anything to incite anger to do this. And now in subsequent verses, he highlights the whole the important people who have come here to fight from the side of Pandavas. Now, is there anyone who will like to read these verses? Anyone who has not yet spoken? Ishwar, you want to recite?
Yeah, I can read.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Here in this army are many heroic women equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjuna. Great fighters like Yuyudhana, Virata and Drupada. There are also great heroic powerful fighters like Drishtaketu,
Chekitana,
Kasiraja, Purujit, Kunti Boja and Sabya. There are the mighty Yudamanyu, the very powerful Uttamaoja, the son of Subhadra and son of Drupadi, All these warriors are great chariot fighters.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Ramya. So here Duryodhana is highlighting the important people who from the side of Pandavas have come to fight, right? So, and he says that they are equal in strength and fighting capability as good as Bhima and Arjuna. Great fighters like Yujudhana, right? Yujudhana is another name of Satyaki, right? Satyaki, you would know. He was commander-in-chief of army of Krishna, right? Virat Naresh, you would know, where these Pandavas spent their 1 year of incognito, and later uh, uh, Uttara, his daughter, married to Abhimanyu, right? Drupad, you would know, Drupad Maharaj, his son was Dhristadyumna and daughter was Draupadi, right? Then Shikhandini was there, right? Maharaj Drupad. So these are important. And then is Drishtaketu, Chekitana. Now I have written in comment section everything about them. You can read. Drishtaketu is son of Shishupal. Although Shishupal was always against Krishna, but Shishupal was cousin of Pandavas. And sister of Drishtaketu was married to Nakula, right? So Drishtaketu, son of Shishupal, fought for Pandavas. Chekitana is one of the very voracious fighter from Vrishni dynasty, right? So he was there. Kashiraj was the king of Kashi. Purijit and Kunti Bhoja are from family of Kunti Maharani from her side of father. Right? Purijit is son of Kunti Bhoja. Kunti Bhoja is brother of Kunti. Sabya is a father-in-law of Maharaj Yudhishthir. Right? So Yudhishthir Maharaj also had one wife named Devika. So Devika is daughter of Sabya. Then Yudamanyu. Yudamanyu is again from Panchal, one of the prince of Panchal, and Uttamoja and Yudamanyu are brothers, right? Then Duryodhana talks about son of Subhodra, which is Abhimanyu, and 5 sons of Draupadi, right? So all these, they are great fighters, okay? So they have, basically, as I told you, Duryodhana was very fearful, right? Now, he would not show his fear to Dronacharya. So now, in order to say that, don't worry, our army is also very strong. So then he boldly speaks about his own army. Someone would like to read this in Sanskrit? Anyone who has not spoken? Ranjit Prabhu, will you like to recite Sanskrit shlok?
Oh, no, Prabhu, it's hard.
Okay. Okay. So I will read. Bhavan Bhishmamascha Karnascha Kripascha Samitim Cha Ashwadhama Vikarnascha Swamadatis Cha. Now here, basically, Duryodhana is highlighting all those who have come from his side to fight. Now, there are personalities like you, Bhavan. Bhavan means you, right? First of all, because Dronacharya was a Brahmana, so Duryodhana highlighted, first named him that you are there, and then he named Bhishmascha, Karnascha. Now Karna was not there in the battlefield at that time, but even then he took name of Karna. Why did he take? Because he knew very well that Dronacharya and Bhishma have soft heart towards Pandavas. So we don't know if they will kill Arjuna and Pandavas or not, but Karna is always envious of Arjuna. So although he was not there on the battlefield, he would take his name, right? Then he highlights Vikarna. Now, Vikarna is nowhere in comparison to Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwadhama. Why did he take name of Vikarna? Can anyone share why? Because Vikarna was the one who spoke against him when Draupadi was being disrobed. It was only Vikarna who stood up saying that this is not good behavior. You should not do this. So Vikarna was his real brother. So he knew that Vikarna had some soft corner for Pandavas. That is why, showing his diplomacy, he would take name of Vikarna, right? So basically, here again, he wants to show that he wants to encourage everyone that here I also have, great fighters, and how he would encourage everyone, right? And then in the subsequent verse, this is very important verse in a sense. Anyone will like to recite this? अन्ये च भवासुरा मद अर्थे त्यक्ता जीविता नानशास्त्र प्रहाराणा सर्वे युद्ध विशारदा. Now here important words are mad arthe tyakta jivita, that they have come here to lay down their lives. Now this basically was something which Mother Saraswati helped him to speak out, because here he clearly agreed that those who have come to fight on the side of adharma are all going to be killed, right? That is the importance of this very verse. Madarte tyakta jivita, right? He knew that all of them would be killed. And then thereafter, he speaks about this. Aparyaptam tad asmakam balam bhishma abarikshatam paryaptam to idam etesham balam bhishma bharikshitam. So aparyaptam here is immeasurable. Our strength is immeasurable, and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma. Balam Bhishma Bharikshitam. Whereas the strength of Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited. Now, why did he highlight Bhishma? We understand. Okay, Bhishma was the most powerful on the side of Kauravas. But was Bhima the most powerful on the side of Pandavas? Why did he highlight Bhima?
Maybe he's the main opponent of Duryodhana.
Yes, because Duryodhana knew very well that this Bhima, during that disrobe, when Draupadi was being disrobed, he took vow that I am going to break your thigh. I am going to open the chest of the Dushasan, and that heartless fellow who dared to pull Draupadi by her hairs and try to disrobe her. He is a heartless fellow. I will break open his heart, right? And he also took a vow that only I will kill all the Kauravas. So Duryodhana was always very, very afraid of Bhima, right? Which is why he highlighted here Bhima, protected by Bhima. Also, if you see aparyaptam also has a meaning that which says what? Aparyapt means inadequate, insufficient, right? So it also says that actually aparyaptam tad asmakam, our strength is insufficient, actually, so that is also the meaning. Now, there is one thing now I want to bring your attention to. Duryodhana has taken name of all the warriors, right? And hereby he says one thing. Whereas the strength of Pandya, he took Bhima, Arjuna, all the warriors, Satyaki, Chekitana, Kunti Bhuja, Purijit, Abhimanyu, everyone from his side, Karna, Kripa, Dronacharya, everyone. What did Duryodhan forget here? Or he intentionally didn't mention?
Yudhishthira?
Yes, Yudhishthir. What else?
Nakula, Sahadeva, at least. This.
Who was the most important person whom he forgot?
Krishna.
Yes. Now this dull-headed Duryodhana, because when he went, when this war was confirmed that now there will be battle between these brothers, then Shakuni sent Duryodhana to Krishna. At the same time, Arjuna also went there. And now Arjuna was standing, Krishna was sleeping that time. So Duryodhana went and he sat besides Krishna, and Arjuna was, humbly standing in front of Krishna with folded hands in front of his feet, right? And when Krishna woke up, he saw Arjuna. So he said, "Oh, what for have you come here?" And then he also saw Duryodhana. "Oh, Duryodhana, you are also here. What for have you come here?" Right? And they said that we have come out here to take your help in this battle. So Krishna said, "Okay, fine. Arjuna, what do you want from me?" And then Duryodhana jumped. "Excuse me, I came here first. You should first ask me what do I want?" So Krishna said, "See, Arjuna is younger to you, and I saw Arjuna first. So I will give him first opportunity to ask." Now there are two things. First thing is that I am not going to fight in this battle. I will not lift any weapon, right? I can help you, but I will not lift any weapon. I'm not going to fight. When he spoke that, Duryodhana said, "What for I am wasting my time here? He is a useless fellow." Right? And he said, "You people have two options, either to select me, who is not going to lift any weapon, or you can select my Narayani Sena." And then Duryodhana was hoping upon hope that he gets the Narayani Sena. But he didn't have any hope. He thought that Arjuna is intelligent enough, he will take the Narayani Sena. And then Krishna asked Arjuna, "Go ahead, what do you want?" And Arjuna didn't even think for a second, and he said, "Krishna, I want you." And this made Duryodhana jump up in the sky. He was so joyous. He said, "Oh Krishna, I will be content with your Narayani Sena." And then he said, "Okay, thank you, bye-bye," and he went away. And then Krishna asked Arjun, I told you that I'm not going to lift weapon, right? I'm not going to fight. Then why did you select me? Why didn't you take the Narayani Sena? Arjuna said, "Krishna, I know. If you are my side, I have everything, right? And I don't want anything more than that." So this Duryodhan, if you saw his diplomacy, he took name of everyone, but for him, Krishna was useless because he's not going to lift weapon, right? And that is the mindset of every materialistic person. They will try to have all material arrangements for everything to be successful, right? Whatever it is. But they will not consider Krishna. They will not consider spirituality. They will not think that it can contribute in success of anything. And that is the mindset of Duryodhana. When he highlighted everyone, but not Krishna, right? Now, if we see what would be the steps of success for anything, whatever it is, if you are running a business or a company, or we are doing a job, managing team, right, or whatever, right? So identify right people who can work for us, right? Offer them the right bait, right? Estimate their strength and weakness, right? SWOT analysis, analysis of pains and gains. Anyone has any question? Okay, so then make a solid plan of action, right? We spend so much time in making up different kinds of plans, updating them, right? Then carry everyone with you and be positive, like a teamwork, team spirit, team engagement, employee engagement, all those things, right? And Duryodhana, he had all those skills. He did everything, but ultimately he failed, right? And the reason Duryodhana failed was, it is not that he had any less army than did Pandavas. It is not that he didn't have brain. He didn't know politics. He didn't know how to fight, right? He didn't have warriors. He had everything. But the main reason why he lost was because he was a dull-headed person when it comes to spirituality. He never considered Krishna to be anything, right? So actually, I wanted to cover the next section also, but I think so we are already at 5:18. So I will like to pause here. We will discuss this next time, right? I now want to open the floor if you have any other questions from the sections we covered today, or any other suggestion you have.
I have one question. Anytime I read, Duryodhana highlighted the strength of the enemies, I mean his enemies, a lot more than his own team. So what is his intention?
Yeah, as I said, he was fearful. He was very afraid, right? He was very afraid. And because of that fear, he came to Dronacharya. He wanted to, somehow encourage everyone, encourage Dronacharya, Bhishma. And he also said, not only Bhishma and all these, but he said that all of you are here. I know you should give full protection to Bhishma. So in a sense, he wanted to encourage everyone, fight. Because in history, in past, if you see, he knew very well that one single Arjuna defeated all of them when they all went to Virat.
Yeah.
Right? So they knew very well, right? And the blessings which Arjuna had received from different demigods, right? The weapons he had, that Astra and Shastra. Astra basically are like arrows, which, someone can shoot,
Mantra.
And Shastra is like sword, they will fight with hand. So, and Arjuna was blessed, like we will read in subsequent shlokas, like in the next section only, when the signs of victory for Pandavas. So his heart was palpitating, and I tell you, it is not only Duryodhana. All the materialistic people, they live in anxiety. They live in fearful state, right? And I tell you, we discussed in our introductory section that how these most advanced world countries in the world, they are taking most of the antidepressants. They are so-called materially rich, but they need a sleeping pill in order to sleep on their expensive bed. But our people, they may not be as much rich, right? But they are sleeping aram se here, right? So this is Duryodhana mentality is basically mentality of all the materialistic people, who are forgetful of spirituality. Right.
So is it that he's focusing on other strength more than his own army strength? Because see, if he really has to win the war, I believe he should have started with his team first, strength of his team. He started with other strength. So it actually opens to a lot of interpretation.
Right.
Is he saying or trying to, provoke Dronacharya that, okay, look, their team is very strong and you have to be careful, or he's worrying about his own army weakness. So, and my question is, if he is a true king, I mean, he knows Rajaniti and all, he should start from himself or his team, and he should not focus on other strengths to begin with.
Actually, you are very right. You know why? Because if you see the whole this army which he gathered, there were all selfish people like himself, right? They were fighting on behalf of Duryodhana for some reason, but the cooperation with Pandavas had, these people didn't have. They all knew that Krishna is the key person for them, right? They all knew, like in this section, which is signs of victory of Pandavas, first from this side Kauravas, Bhishma blew the conch shell. Now Bhishma was fighting for Kauravas because of his own reason. Dronacharya was fighting for Kauravas, although their heart was not for Kauravas. They were fighting for the sake of fighting because of their obligations, certain obligations. On the other end, in Pandava side, they were all fighting with spirit for Pandavas. And Duryodhana knew, he was very, very fearful of this fact, right? And you rightly said that there can be many interpretations which can be made, right? But what I do, I only present the logics and interpretation with our acharyas have presented, right? Like as you rightly said, of one thing there can be many interpretations, right? But we will only present what is coming in line of our disciplic succession in our, acharya, what acharyas have presented. So we will take that, interpretation as the key interpretation, right? And yes, there can be many other interpretation for this, right? But the main thing is, yes, this Duryodhana was from inside, he knew, like if you see Shalya, by deceit, he took Shalya on his side by deceit, right? Shalya was coming to fight for the Pandavas, right? He was maternal uncle of Nakul and Sahadev. But because of the deceit, Duryodhana made him to fight for his side. Now, what did he do? He ended up becoming a Sarathi for Karna when Karna came to fight. And he would always discourage Karna. He would always discourage. And that was happening in the side of Kauravas, and he knew very well. So if you see from material point of view, there were great fighters on the side of Kauravas, like Bhima, Karna, or Dronacharya, Kripacharya, Ashwadhama, all those great fighters, Akshohani Sena, more than Pandavas. From a materialistic vision, they may seem, but Duryodhana knew what actually is happening. Yeah. Right. Any other question? Okay, so as we discussed last time, will all of us will like to chant one, maybe one round, or some mantras. Maybe today we can chant maybe 20 mantras, if all of you are fine, of our Hare Krishna Mahamantra. All of you have chanting beads with you, like these mala? Or if you don't have, you can chant on your fingers or your counter. Someone can count. Is there someone who can count? Or I will just give me a second. Let me display the mantra. Just a second. Just a second. Okay, so we will start by chanting the Panchatattva mantra. Jai Shri कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So thanks all of you. We will end our session, and we will meet next time to discuss rest of the sections of chapter 1. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, Prabhuji.